Hey Aubrey, what's shaking?
Not too much. How are you, Lindsay?
Yeah, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. I hope our listeners are taking us along with them on their road trips or
Yes.
their beach days,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Even
Mhm.
if you're home, maybe you go on a walk on the weekend. Yes, I love it. I hope you're
Yes.
listening to us on the weekend. So
For
fun.
sure, for sure. And happy birthday. It's you had a birthday just a few days ago, Aubrey, right?
Yes, thanks, Lindsay. I know, a June birthday. I'm a Gemini. Happy birthday to everybody out there who is celebrating a birthday with me.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I have a good question for you today to start off. Are you
All
ready?
right.
Here we go. Okay.
Yes.
I'm curious about this actually. So, do you ever fly off the handle when you get upset, Aubrey? Is that in your personality to kind of lose it?
I love this idiom, fly off the handle. I'm excited to share
Yeah.
some really fun idioms with you guys today.
Yeah.
A few when we recorded that episode about lose your cool, I hope you guys heard that one not
Yes.
long ago. Do you remember
Mhm.
I was like, no, usually but then not long after I did, I flew off the handle. I lost my cool at my daughter's soccer game because she
Really?
was hurt by another player and that player's parent was she was like, yeah, way to be aggressive. Meanwhile, my daughter's on the ground injured and I lost it. I was like, no,
Oh.
no way to be aggressive. I like yelled at this other parent.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
so red.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. So
You were
every
breathing
now and then.
fire. Were you
Yeah, the
breathing
mama bear
fire,
comes
Aubrey?
out, right?
Wow, interesting. Okay, good to know. Good to know. So, guys, I'm excited because let's let our listeners know about a great episode we just did a few days ago, Aubrey. What is it? What is it?
Yes. So in 2215, we were talking about common spelling errors like lead versus lead, lose versus loose.
Mhm.
And I shared that we were going to do this episode about losing your cool and all the fun
Yes.
idioms that we use in English for this.
Good. So go and check out that other episode. And today is part one of a two-part series, right, Aubrey? Yeah.
Exactly. So be sure to hit follow because as I looked into these idioms, there are so many for just getting angry and then separate idioms that are more about speaking heatedly, raising your voice, yelling at someone. I did both at that soccer game.
Yeah, there's also something interesting, I think about culture. When I think about personality, then I think about culture. Are there certain cultures that kind of allow more of that in your face uh confrontational nature, or are there certain cultures that it's not okay, it's not acceptable? I think there are. I think there's a big
Yes.
difference around the world.
Yes, it's interesting. Come back and fill out the Spotify poll. We're going to ask you guys about this because I want to know too. It's interesting. I know you and Michelle talked about Karens in a previous episode, and I'm so paranoid that someone will see me as a Karen in US culture that I really avoid it. But sometimes, like, you hurt my baby, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
care
get
anymore if I look
protective.
like a Karen. I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, interesting. I know when I traveled to Egypt last year, I noticed after having lived in Japan and other places
Mm,
where I didn't see a lot of that, I saw more of it in Egypt. It was my first time in the
interesting.
Middle East. I saw it in the airport. There was some, and I wondered, is this just communication manifesting in a different way and it's
Right?
okay? Or was there, for example, I saw someone blow up in the airport,
Mm,
get really upset at the person the person booking the flights, an
gotcha.
immediate out like just sort of outburst. And I'm curious, I want to know, is are
Right.
there different levels of acceptance around this immediate anger
And you can't
around the
help but wonder
world?
if what you saw was an anomaly or if
Mhm,
this is much
exactly.
more common in that culture because sometimes when you're not there that long, it's hard to know.
Yeah, for sure. So you got to keep traveling and keep asking people,
Exactly.
talking to people and seeing what's going on around the world. I love it. Oh, man. Okay, Aubrey, where do we go from here?
Yeah, let's jump into these idioms. They're all really interesting. The first one we talked about losing our cool back in episode 2194, but
Hmm.
there are so many other idioms for this. Our first one is fly off the handle. You asked me if
Yeah.
I do this,
Hmm.
and we'll often share this sort of to minimize, right? Yes, we're talking about someone losing their cool, losing their temper,
Hmm.
but sometimes we also do it to sort of exaggerate, right? I might
Yeah.
say like, I don't know why Janet was so upset, but she really flew off the handle. And she might have just raised her voice,
Yeah.
been a little bit, sometimes
Yeah.
we sort of exaggerate.
Well, also, there's a different sense of what is flying off the handle based on your
Right.
personality when you observe. To one person, that person flew off the handle. To the other person, that person was just expressing themselves, you
That's
know?
such a good point, right? Somebody at this soccer game, my husband was like, "Calm down, take it
Yeah.
easy." Like, to him,
Yeah,
it was
for
very
sure.
extreme, and to me, it just felt like the required reaction.
Interesting. Yeah, it really depends on what we're used to, and that could be
Yeah.
cultural too. Globally speaking, it could be what we're used to, and the idea of saving face or not saving face, fascinating.
Right.
Okay, so let's give some examples.
Yeah, so I
um,
shared that one, this person really flew off the handle. You could also
yeah.
say about yourself, "I try not to fly off the handle, but sometimes I get so angry."
Yes. I mentioned in the last episode for me, it depends on how good my meditation practice is in any given
Yes,
week. These days, it's pretty strong. I'm getting up at 6 a.m. to meditate for half an hour before I go for a walk. And it's helping me to really be a lot more like even in my mind, a
for
lot
sure.
calmer. Yeah.
I can see how that would make a difference even at this soccer game, even though I was really upset. If I had been meditating and in a calmer place, I probably would have been able to, like, speak calmly and civilly to this parent or the ref or whoever.
Well, it's hard. We're in
It's
a place now where there's a lot of interaction online. A lot of people are flying off the handle
mm,
very quickly, especially around divisions, within our country, right?
that's a good point, and when you have that anonymity a little bit online, it's sort of easier to do without thinking, "I should be calm and speak respectfully."
For sure. Fascinating.
Mm.
Okay. So there's a lot here.
Yes.
But number two, seeing red, right? Where do we go from here, Aubrey? What does this
Yeah, I
mean?
like this idiom, an example is to say, "I don't know what came over me, I just saw red." I feel like I said this after I yelled at that mom, like, wow, it's like you're not thinking clearly, you're not thinking about, how are my actions being perceived? You're just so angry that whatever you say, whatever you're doing, you're just not really thinking.
Just in the moment. Did you say
Yeah.
that to her after, or did you go up to her after, or no?
No, I think I said that to my daughter's coach. I didn't apologize because I was like, somebody needed to say something, but I was like, I don't know what came over
Wow.
me. I just saw red and started yelling.
Yeah. It's the classic scenario that people talk about the soccer game, right? Where
Right.
parents have a different take on what should be done in the game, I guess, or I don't know. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Intense.
Especially
Very
when they're
intense.
little. I'm like, let's not teach them to be violent, but I probably could have
Oh.
responded in a more cool, calm, and collected manner.
Oh, okay. So this is your younger daughter, right? The
Oh, yeah,
younger one.
she's only
Oh,
10,
I
and
was
this other
thinking,
player
okay.
she was
Okay.
shoving. She shoved her to the ground, and she hurt her leg. She had to be pulled from the
Oh my
game. So it was pretty
gosh.
extreme, but I was
Uh,
mostly upset at this parent who was encouraging her daughter to push, and it wasn't like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
is your daughter okay?" It was
Right,
like,
of
"Yes, way to
course.
be aggressive." I
Yeah,
was
that's
so
not really
upset.
a thing in soccer, right? Maybe that kid should be playing
Lacrosse, right?
hockey.
There's a reason we're
Hockey.
not playing lacrosse or
Yeah,
rugby or something that's more violent.
or
Flag
hockey.
tackle
Right.
football.
Yeah, right. There are other sports you could choose where it's
Right.
actually part of the game to shove and push and check, as they say,
Exactly.
right? But
You can't do
not
that in soccer. Where's the yellow card?
interesting. Interesting. All right. Good stuff. Good to know. Good to know. Okay.
And then I think this is a great method for connection too, to ask someone, like, do you ever just see red when you get angry? Do you ever fly off the handle? It's interesting because you're sharing sort of a fault. You're being honest and open, but
Yeah.
we recognize we're all human. Like, we all have these situations where it gets extreme and yeah, we might lose our temper.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, exactly. I like that you said that. We are all human and it's the nature of the mind to get upset sometimes. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
The point is being able to articulate what's going on. Right, by
Yeah.
saying these things. Oh, I flew off the handle. What would be in just a minute, Aubrey? We're going to go through another one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We
Mhm.
have two more really great ones.
Okay, I like this one. Get one's goat.
Yes. I said this a lot growing up. My parents say this, like, if we were upset at a sibling, my mom would say, "Don't let them get your goat." It means, like,
That's
"Don't
so
let them
cute.
bother you. Why do you care? Why are you letting them upset you? Why are you letting them control how you feel?"
I love that. I know this one. I didn't really grow up using it, but one that would supplement it maybe from my East Coast upbringing or something, whatever our
Oh, yeah.
differences are, would be don't let them get to you. Don't let
Yes.
it get to you or don't let them get to you. Get to you. Meaning
Right.
Yeah.
You remove the farm animal, maybe
Yeah, I
growing up
remove
in
the
a rural area, right? We had goats. "Don't let let 'em
Yeah.
get your goat." I don't
Right,
know
right,
where that
right.
comes from.
Right, if you grew up in a more urban area, although I lived in a rural-ish area, but East Coast is different
Mm,
vibe, I guess.
definitely.
Don't let them get to you is good too. Yes.
Yes, I say that all the time. I would be more likely to say that at work in a more formal situation. I probably wouldn't
Mhm.
say, "Don't let them get your goat." This is very informal. I'd probably instead say, "Don't let them get to you. Don't let it bother you."
Yes, so did that get your goat, right? Or that really got my goat when he was so late. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Lateness, not good.
Yeah, that gets my goat, Lindsay, when someone's late. This is a funny expression. Anything where you can throw in a farm animal to an idiom is just fun.
Yes, love it. And then the next one, very common, throw a fit, right? So we're not
Yes.
talking about physically throwing something, right? We don't want to do that.
Exactly,
um,
right, and this means to lose your temper. It's more about getting mad and yelling, but it's a little more general, right? Just being really upset. Like you saw Lindsay at the airport, this person threw a fit
mhm.
when the ticket agent couldn't help them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Throwing a fit. Exactly. And this typically when I hear this, I think of children, but adults
Yeah.
do it too.
That's the thing, it's more glaring when an adult does. Children, you're like, "Oh, they're having a temper tantrum, it's normal, they'll grow out of it." An adult, you're like, "Wow, she threw a fit when the cashier wouldn't take her credit card." You
Ooh, I
see this
want
on
to
TikTok sometimes, people start filming when someone
yeah.
flies off the handle.
And I think we're all, like, at that boiling point these days,
It
right?
happens.
I think we're all there and we're about to, let it roll in a sense.
Yes.
But the one I love that I'm gonna add as a bonus here, especially for babies and
Mm,
children, is having a
mm.
meltdown.
Yes, I love that
Yes.
too. And for adults too, right?
I
I saw
suppose you could
someone have a meltdown the other day at a restaurant. The server had
really.
messed up their order. They were at the next table and this person had a meltdown. They were like so upset. Like, "You know what? Honest
Interesting.
mistake. Let's." But that's me. I had a meltdown at the soccer game. So
That's you.
I've
We've
been
all
there.
had our meltdowns.
Yep.
Don't worry. It is not
Can't judge.
anything, no judgment whatsoever
Yep.
around the world. We are all human beings. And while we want connection, that's what we want the most as humans. We also experience anger. It's normal,
Right.
right? So
Absolutely.
no shame. No shame. I love
Let's
it.
do a role play and
Yeah.
use these idioms, Lindsay. You and I are discussing an argument we witnessed in this role play.
All right, here we go.
I'll start us. "I was really surprised they both flew off the handle like that."
Oh, same. It can happen to the best of us, though. I try to control my temper, but sometimes I just see red.
Yeah, true. You never know what's going to get your goat.
It's pretty extreme to throw a fit like that, though. Those two Those 2 maybe need some anger management classes, right?
Yeah, right. We clearly witnessed like, ooh, a really bad argument, some kind of fight. Maybe they need anger management. Maybe they just need some meditation.
Yeah, meditation helps. Wasn't there a movie called Anger Management with Adam
Yes,
Sandler? Was that a different okay, I never saw
it
it. I'll
was.
have
I
to
think
check it
Robert
out.
De Niro and Adam Sandler. I saw it
Oh,
a long time, but I feel like it was
interesting duo. I'll have to
yes,
check it
right?
out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do we say in this role play today, Aubrey? What do we
I
say here?
first used "flew off the handle," and this yeah, I would say this, right? If I observe it, be like, "Ooh, wow, they really flew off the handle." Just means they lost their temper, they were clearly very upset.
For sure. And then I said, I try to control my temper, but sometimes I just see red. I just get so upset and I can't see anything else.
And this is such a great way to connect, to admit this fault, like, we're all human, no one's perfect, be like, yes, we've witnessed this kind of but you know what? It could happen to me too, I admit it."
100%. 100%. This is connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you said, true. Right. You never know. Right. What'd you say, Aubrey?
What I said, "You never know what's gonna get your goat." And so this
Mhm.
means, like, you never know what's going to really get under your skin is another way to say it, no something that's just really going to
Oh,
bother you.
there's so many good ones here. Get under your
Yes.
skin. And I had added that bonus. You never know what's going to get to you. I suppose you could say that. And that's
Yeah,
legitimate.
absolutely.
But yeah, there's a lot with get. There's a lot we can do right there. And then I said it's pretty extreme to throw a fit like that, though. Right?
Yes, and this would be
Mm,
where you could say it's pretty extreme to have a meltdown like that, where you're seeing
yeah.
this is extreme, someone's yelling in public, something's a little uncomfortable for everyone around because someone's really losing it.
Yeah, and so I feel like this is such a key episode today because the ideal scenario is that we are connecting over our dreams, our visions, the things
Right.
we love in life, but that's not always true. Sometimes we actually are throwing a fit, then we have to go and apologize. Or
Good point.
Aubrey, sometimes we're witnessing two other people losing it at each other. Sometimes we're talking about, cultural differences around what's okay and what's not. there's a lot here that we can connect
Yes.
on.
Yeah, and sharing
It's
about yourself. I've told that story about the soccer game so many times. It's a great story, actually, and I'm
yeah,
recognizing, like, "Okay, I could have handled this better."
right.
But also, I probably used all of these idioms because 'cause they're just so fun and native and natural.
And I also feel like because you shared that story, our listeners know you better. You're showing us another side of yourself. You're showing us that you're actually human, and that's someone we wanna actually connect with, right? We don't connect with perfection,
Yes,
right?
I kind of love that between the episode about losing your cool and this episode, something happened where I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah. This happens to me. I lose my cool sometimes."
Such an important series. I feel like this month we're kind of on this theme of imperfections, but human imperfections and how do we talk about those? I love it. Yeah.
Yes, awesome, and be sure
Yeah.
to hit follow. We have another episode coming up very soon with idioms for speaking very heatedly. We've got a lot of
Got
cool
it.
idioms about that
Okay.
too in English.
Wow, turning the temperature up here on All Ears English. I love
Yes.
it. So guys, look for the part 2 in this series. Will that be out next week? Maybe in the next few weeks, Aubrey? Check it out right
Yes.
here on All Ears
Yeah.
English. Okay,
Yep.
good. Great. We'll see you there. All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
All
Lindsay.
right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.